Welcome to On the Brink, a fresh lens to take you and your business to new heights. Thanks for joining us today on our podcast and live streaming on YouTube. We're going to be talking today about blockchain and why we see it as such an incredible, transformative new technology that is really going to be coming to your community before you know it. So, to some degree, people say, well, what is blockchain anyhow? And I think it's a really interesting concept of computer talking to computer, of a code talking to code in a very secure way that allows us to eliminate the distributor or middleman or bank or institution or government now that controls the interactions between us. So you have something you want to show or sell, and somebody else is who you want to show it to, and you could blockchain it and communicate it to each other securely. It could hold all of your personal identification. And what you could find is that it is a very straightforward, easy, fast, secure way for us to conduct trade. So let's go back a little bit. From the time that we can document it, 6000 BC, humans began to trade with something called a coin or currency of some kind. We are assuming that before then, they had some kind of barter, because we know that they had cowrie shells, and we had other kinds of ways of exchanging something for value for something that represented it. And what we saw as humans evolved was that as society changed, so did the currency or means of creating value and controlling it. So if in the early hunters and gatherers days, you had extra food because you caught an antelope and you now had fire so you could cook it, you could invite others in to exchange, and they would bring something in exchange for a part of that antelope. And as we became really good agricultural societies, we had extra wheat or barley or rice that we could exchange for something else, but not by barter, but by having some kind of currency. And the currency had to live somewhere. You could put it onto your mattress, but we often put it in a temple, call it a bank or government institution or church, or we gave it to someone to hold it for us. And then over time, it really wasn't until I think 1661 that we actually had paper. That's a long time between 6000 BC when we had our first coins and when we started to realize that the coin themselves was hard to travel with. And then what we began to do is see that the currency itself had the backing of gold or silver. But it wasn't that long ago that we got rid of the gold or silver backing it, and it became the and the value of it became backed by the national government or of a company, of a country. And so now we had paper that had the value of the US government behind it, and we could exchange it for another, but we might have to change its value when we made that exchange. 1946 was the first credit card. And not long ago, we not only were we looking at lots of credit cards going through all kinds of transactions, but now we're getting wearables. And Barclay actually had people testing wearables so that they could simply exchange wearable to wearable. What blockchain is presenting now is the next method for exchange. And it isn't that strange when you think about it, because what the internet has done is sort of prepare us for it. You now go online and on eBay or on Amazon or Alibaba or Google, you find something you want, and you can't necessarily know it is exactly what you want, but you're trusting. You have uncertainty, which is really what comes into play here. How much uncertainty are you willing to risk? And then you hope that the person who you're buying it from will, in fact, respectfully package that and send it to you in exchange for something called money that you're going to exchange it for, a credit card or PayPal or some kind of transaction mode. Then you're hoping that the uncertainty, it will get to you as you planned on the time that it was said it would. And that uncertainty is full of risk. And then they're not going to renege on it. You gave them your credit or your PayPal, and they are sending what you think is that iPhone or that new technological toy that you bought or a new anything, a new Alexa. And the uncertainties are those that are still prevailing as you begin to build trust in the process and trust that the person on the other side is worthy of your trust and will send it to you. Okay, so now we have this in decreasing uncertainties, but still anxiety about it. Blockchain comes along and offers us the next generation of barter exchange, not exactly cowrie shells, but it is something that can now capture my entire identity, my things of value, things that I want to own, or my tax returns. And what we're finding is that the technology is becoming easily embraced, although slowly. And I say easily or slowly. Dubai, for example, wants to be an entire government that has everything on blockchain. They want all of the personal records, all of the birth certificates, all of the transactions, paperless economy, all on blockchain. Zug in Switzerland is a crypto village, a crypto valley, they call it, where they want everything to be on blockchain. And they're beginning to enroll their citizens in their personal identification on it. Estonia wants to be paperless. And so they're beginning to move in a direction, leaving the coin issue aside for a moment, is seeing the value of blockchain to capture your information, hold it secure, so that only you can release it to whom you wish to. But if Zug in Switzerland is right, they're going to have all of the government interactions done on blockchain. Think of what that's going to mean for all the people who now do all the paper to process you in some fashion. What else is going on that you really should pay attention to? Because it is extremely interesting and important. Apart from Dubai and Zug and Estonia, even Samsung is creating all of the blockchain for South Korea. So some things that are emerging. Viewly, for example, wants to tackle YouTube's control on the video world. And it wants to make it easier for you who produce a video to share it with me who would like to see it. And if we eliminate YouTube in the middle, then all that will matter is how many people watch that video and like it, and in the process, share it. And in the process of voting for it, mostly polling for it, you in turn might get something in return. Think of it as a token. But your videos now can accelerate in terms of their popularity based upon what the blockchain community is endorsing. And it takes the hands out of the middleman in the process. What else? In health, GEM is working with the CDC to begin to build a blockchain of outbreaks of diseases so they can more rapidly approach them and manage them. So a Simply Vital Health is beginning to address the electronic medical record issues in healthcare in the United States, where the interoperability is missing. So you have Cerner and you have Epic and you have other kinds of systems that don't talk to each other. And so a patient has to re-enter all their information every time they go to another doctor or have another test done. Well, what Simply Vital Health wants to do is take that and make it all interoperable with a blockchain connection. So you have your information here and they have the ability to access it when you release it to them. And you can now track who has accessed it because you control access to you. IBM actually has 400 client, if not more, blockchain projects underway. Now, Barclays had a great quote. They said they believe that this is going to be fundamentally new part of the planet, transformative. And what I love is in Brooklyn, there's something called a transaction grid that is working on a totally sustainable exchange system for solar energy being created on the buildings in anywhere. Think about it. I create energy off solar panels. I can't sell it to somebody. But if I have a blockchain, I can sell it to somebody and the exchange goes into my account. Now, these are some small but growing ways that are going to be transformative. We think a lot about Bitcoin and all the cryptocurrencies that are emerging. And I'm going to be doing an interview with Digibyte founder, Jared Tate, that you should pay attention to because he'll talk about not only blockchain and the slow adoption and why it's difficult, but in fact, the coin and how he's going to manage the availability of it, the value of it, the nodes, all the computers and the mining of it in such a secure fashion that you're going to feel more trusting of that currency or perhaps some of the others and begin to use it even at ATMs that are now beginning to give out Bitcoin currency. What is it we're ready for? A great transformation that for society will eliminate the uncertainties that we have and reduce the risks that we deal with and create a completely different interrelationship. Call it a democratization. Who knows what the institutions called governments and banks are going to do with this? Nobody's going to let it go easily because all of this is transformative, disrupting, and quite frankly, very exciting for anthropologists who study our societies. Think about it. What we value, believe, and behave are going to go through the next transformation. The very first website was created in 1991. Think about what has happened to it since then. And think about how e-commerce in the last decade has turned into the way we do business. And now blockchain is ready to transform even that. And you can be part of it. I'm not going to say invest in one of the coins, but watch closely how it will affect your business. If you're in logistics, could the supply chain be completely speeded up? So all those trading documents that you do by fax even can be done in a day or less through blockchain. With the security that you know that your logistics system is secure and the packages that are going to be sent will be done effectively. You know, what are you in the perhaps you're in a wonderful business in healthcare. You're trying to create an ecosystem. How could blockchain transform that from being just a better or another into the only? And what about in the HR and recruitment area? What if an individual can take all their badges, training, and other things on their blockchain so you don't have to worry whether it's true or not? And when you hire them, you will see their reality all in their blockchain computer system. So this is not simple, but it is coming, and it's going to come very dramatically to us. Some people call it the hype stage. That's true, but we've evolved over thousands of years by learning new technologies and how to apply them. I don't know what it was like when we invented fire, but I do know that has transformed all of us. Blockchain is the same dimension to it. It's going to be truly transformative. Thanks for joining us today. Remember, On the Brink, A Fresh Lens to Take Your Business to New Heights is our book. It's available on Amazon as an Audible or an ebook or a hardcover. Our podcast, On the Brink, A Fresh Lens to Take Your Business to New Heights, is available. Check us out at andysimon.com or simonassociates.net. Hey, thanks again for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the blockchain. It's going to be fantastic.